In this past year's 2024 playoffs, we seen Paolo Banchero make his first appearance with the Orlando Magic, and I'm sure for all of us, there was a glaring problem that hindered this team greatly. On 33 three-point attempts in their lone series versus the Cavaliers, the Magic only knocked down 31% of these, which led to horrendous floor spacing, making it harder to get the offense flowing. Now, although the team's floor spacing was terrible, Paolo Banchero was still able to find his spots on the court and put up an amazing outing for his first playoff series in his NBA career. To score the ball and find your spots on the floor with no spacing is one of the hardest things to do in the NBA nowadays, but Banchero showcased the exact way to still be effective in these situations. Over the course of this 7-game series, Paolo put up 27 points, 8 rebounds and 4 assists, while adding in 4 turnovers as well, and connected on 45% of his shots from the field and 40% of his deep range attempts. So of course there's still some learning and comfortability that needs to be gained going into next year, but from a guy in his first playoff appearance, you can't really ask for much better. With Paolo placed in the middle of the floor on this play, you can see 2 defenders in Jarrett Allen and Max Strus rotating over the crowded space, just ignoring their man. So right here, Paolo has the option to kick it out to the 3, and he could also try to throw this lob over the top to Wendell, who's calling for it, but this is where you must stay patient and analyze the situation. So Paolo ends up feeding this pass fake to get Mitchell to lunge out. He then fakes another pass to Wendell in the pocket to make Strus commit fully. So now with a one-on-one action versus Allen, Paolo used that 250-pound frame to get into Allen's body to create space and fades back to nail the jumper over the top. This level of patience for someone in their first playoff series is remarkable, as Banchero takes his time to assess the floor from the top of the key here, and since defenders are loaded up at the nail on both sides with Mobley being up pretty high, he's going to direct Wendell to run through to open up this right side of the floor. With Banchero knowing where he wants to get to, he sets up Strus with a spin to get right into this mid-range area, and with that size advantage, there's not much Strus can really do when Paolo rises over the top. I know some people may sleep on the mid-range game, but this is where Paolo was able to pick apart the Cavaliers' defense play after play, because no longer could he just rush inside recklessly, as the Cavs were shrinking the floor heavily to stop any penetration. Right here you see LeVert at the elbow ready for a drive left, Mobley is just below him in position for the weak side help, and then you have Jarrett Allen sunk all the way in on the block for the strong side help. This right here would be a recipe for disaster if you try to attack the rim, so with a smaller Donovan Mitchell on him, Paolo takes one dribble to get to his spot, and with some footwork, he's able to find that slight opening to get the bucket. When the defense loads up like this, you have to be more methodical when you're picking your spots so you don't run into bad situations, as on this play when Allen runs over to the strong side block to deter the drive, Paolo was smart enough to feed Strus the up fake to get him on that trampoline, give another look at the rim which makes Allen come out to possibly contest a shot, but this is where not telegraphing your passes come in handy, and the zip down to Wendell makes for an easy two-handed slam. The reason the defense reacts so hard to these fakes in the mid-range is because at any time Paolo wanted, he could get to his spots on the floor and elevate off 1 foot to knock it down near the baseline. When he was getting to his spots on the floor, he could pull up out of nowhere, leaving the defender flat-footed for an easy warm-up jumper. And if needed, he could use that crossover to get the defender's momentum going downhill, take the swipe on the arm, and bury the and one. There was truly many ways Banchero could get into his shots, and trust me, it wasn't easy at all, as you can see just how crowded the spacing is on this pull-up with 3 Cavalier defenders within 5 feet of him. Just to show you how effective Banchero was in that in-between area, on 6 attempts from the mid-range over the course of these 7 games, Banchero knocked down 54% of these. When you're being schemed against this heavily, you must take your time to scan the floor and see what you're working with, so when Banchero sees this left side of the floor overloaded and this right side of the floor more accessible, he spins away from this left side going the other way, and with his driving being a threat to the defense, you'll see them blitz the help to stop him from continuing, but Paolo is more than aware of that and gets into the 10-foot jumper. It was more than evident throughout this series that the Cavs wanted to force Banchero into shooting rather than getting to the rim, but this is when you become vulnerable to these step backs creating all this space, and for someone who's been clicking on all cylinders, this amount of room is just too much to give up. You'll see it again here as Mobley tries to stay with Banchero when coming off the screen, and just take a look at how Mobley is positioned opposed to Banchero. Evan is squared up to the basket instead of Banchero, which is a mistake, and Paolo is squared up ready for the jumper, which is now an easy make. But hey, it's quite understandable that the defense will sell out on his drives time after time, because when you're dealing with someone who will go right into your chest to body you off and then elevate for the slam, you better do anything in your power to not get put on a poster. At times you'll see multiple defenders try and stop him when he's en route to the basket, but when a freight train like Banchero is coming at you, there's really not much you can do to stop him. It'll get to a point where you think you have him right in front of you to stop the attack, but with the footwork on the spin move and the strength on the gather, you instead end up fouling him, and the power through rewards him with the and one.
Spinning, flipping, and the foul!
Trust me, it's no easy feat to keep him outside the paint, because if he's not using that strength, then he can pull out this high carryover when the defender takes a sharp pursuit angle to stop him, and now the layup inside is easy money. To add on to that, it definitely becomes even easier for him when there's no bigs in the paint, as once his man is on his hip, all he has to do is put the ball up high over the smaller defender in Darius Garland, and finish with the reverse on the other side of the rim to avoid the block on the backside. This aggressive nature helps his game out so much, as he simply won't be denied when putting guys through the rim. This ability to constantly evade defenders and collapse the defense makes for times where you see the whole entire defense locked in on him, so with no one aware of Wendell sliding right on that backside, it makes for an easy dunk. Catering this amount of attention from the defense makes them forget about their man so they can go stop the drive, but here's where Paolo's underrated playmaking comes into play. But not only will he set up his guys, but if he needs to work off ball, then he can get crafty to get open on the floor, and this alley-oop connection is a thing of beauty. On the flip side, with defenses not taking him as a serious threat from deep, but wanting to keep Franz from getting downhill, here's where this 3-ball opens up, and Paolo shows them that they better step up. It may not be a whole lot of times, but with that slight off-ball movement on the court, it makes his pass from Franz a lot easier since Paolo slid down to the corner, and this right here is straight, wait, everybody say it with me, and this right here is straight cash. As he did carry the load of creating throughout this series, you had to find times to use him off ball, so when Gary Harris cuts through gaining the attention of both defenders, that's when it's key that Banchero notices this and slides up the floor to make this closeout distance a lot further, and with nothing but time and space, he makes the defense pay. Not only was he moving off ball to get these 3-pointers to drop, but with his confidence on a high, Banchero could use that handle to step back to put it in. If the defense did decide to not respect him and go under the screen, then he would rise up to prove them wrong. And when the defense was too lazy to get out quick enough, he would take that as disrespect and put 3 more points on the board. This NBA playoff berth was huge for Banchero, as it showcased that he has the skill sets to be a leader for this team and that he can show up in the big moments. Of course, there's some work that still needs to be done, but going into this upcoming season, I'm sure we'll see a whole nother level of his game. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.